Hello there, and welcome to the Tammy Tuckey Show. My name is Tammy Tuckey, and it's good to see you. 1974, let's picture it, everyone. And it had only been 3 years since Walt Disney World had welcomed its first park guests on opening day on October 1st, 1971. And a little show premiered in Fort Wilderness Campground at Pioneer Hall on June 30th, 1974. And that starred the Pioneer Hall players Six Bits, Dolly Drew, Jim Handy, Flora Long, Johnny Ringo, and Claire de Lune. With a delicious country-style meal to accommodate the guests' hunger for some Western entertainment and food. For those of you who don't know about the Hoop-Dee-Doo, I thought I'd give you a little clip from some of our home videos from my family because we've seen the show so many times. So here's a little bit of the original opening number from the Hoop-Dee-Doo. We're gonna do some fancy dancing for you. Well, everything you told me is true. We hope that we can make you smile. Sorry that you had to wait, but you see the coach was late. There ain't no sleep or snow. Come here to do our show. We're so glad that you can come. Nothing's gonna stop us from So now we get to welcome the original cast. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary. So everybody, let's give a hand to the original Pioneer Hall players. Here they all are.
Yeah.
Hello,
Fantastic.
everyone. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank
you.
Well, let's go across the board, our Brady Bunch board. John, why don't you start it? We'll all say our names and what roles we got to play in the show. So, John, why don't you start out?
I'm John Windsor, living in Boulder, Colorado now, since that came up. And I was the original Johnny.
So you didn't have to change your name, which was good.
I didn't. I think that's why they asked me.
Because you would never have remembered another name.
Yeah.
So that's good. Lucky for you.
Well, I'm Gary Kortemeier. I'm currently living in Minnesota, and I played Jim Handy, the handsome singing man. I have to tell people to use their Imagineering now.
We're going clockwise. I'm Ted King. Oh, sorry,
Judy
Judy,
Routh. I'm Judy Routh. I live in Huntsville, Texas, and I played Claire de Lune, the dancing lady.
Oh, sorry.
John was my partner. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, you made him look great.
You did. I'm Kate Richards Motley, and I played Flora Long.
My leading lady. Yay.
Yes, the lovely singing lady. Go ahead, Ted.
take it.
I'm Marilyn. Marilyn Magness Carroll. I live in Bend, Oregon now. After a lifetime in Southern California, we moved up here about 10 years ago, and I played Dolly Drew. What a ball that was!
Did she ever?
Yes.
You sure
Yeah.
did.
I'm Ted King. I had the unique opportunity to play all three of the male roles, Six Bits, Jim, and Johnny, that summer. And my wife and I live in San Diego. We just happened to be in Sun River visiting really close friends. And a shout out to the Grants and the Hellings, because we're up here visiting them. And Marilyn and I said, well, you're in
together.
town. Let's do this thing together. So here we are.
Yes, and we've talked about all at length. All of
Yes.
you. Yeah.
I know that was a great surprise. So I'm so glad to have you on. I know a couple years ago, I believe Marilyn, it was Larry, yourself, and I think Billy Flanagan, and we had talked a little bit and my podcast didn't record it properly. So we lost that conversation, but I remember it was such a joy. So when I reached out to Gary, I was like, hey, the 50th anniversary is coming up. I know you guys are planning something special to do together, but I think that this show has so much history, especially with its beginnings, and I really wanted to have you guys on. So thank you for, first of all, joining tonight, and let's just start out with the how this became, because it sounded like it was a little experiment of putting something like this together. So how did you hear about it, and how did you audition?
It was all through our college.
Yeah.
I think everybody came. It was a college workshop program, and
Yeah.
we had
There's
an
like
audition.
a flyer on a board
Right.
in the dance department or the music department.
Mhm.
Hey, there's the summer thing in Walt Disney World, and you auditioned by videotape.
Which
Yeah.
looked like this. I found it in my archive.
Oh, look
my
at you! Look at you!
And
Yeah.
it was really hard
Reel
to
to
find
reel.
a reel to reel. So 3 of us sent it in. The other 2 names are scratched off, and they put MC next to mine on April 20th, 1974. I have goosebumps just showing you this. I found it. I was trying to dig through all
I bet I have
pictures.
mine.
Wow.
Wow.
This is hard to find.
I have mine somewhere.
No, it was, that's what it was, Tammy. It was a college program, part of the, the Kids of the Kingdom were part of that. The college band was part of that. All American College Singers, I should say, which was the post Kids of the Kingdom. But we were, 7, 8 of us, I guess, down there with another 50 kids. So we were part of a giant program.
I was going to a little state university up in Ellensburg, Washington, and was in a musical at the time. And the director of the show walked in with this flyer that he'd gotten in the mail, and he handed it to me, and he said, you might want to audition for this. It's some kind of a show they're doing at Walt Disney World. And that's how I found out about it. And it was like, wow.
We really didn't know, Tammy.
Was,
we auditioned on videotape. We sent it in. Larry Billman was the director, obviously. And
we didn't know any of these people at the time. It was like,
Yeah.
send the thing off to Disneyland, and
It was off to the blind. We didn't
yeah,
know what
we
we
know.
were
collect
looking
this
for.
ragtag group of 8 kids in college and brings them all to Florida, which is where we met, and said, here's the script, and here's the beautiful Pioneer Hall. Never had a show in there. So you guys are going to open this thing, and we're going to run it as an experiment for 3 months.
We were all put in the same apartment complex. That was crazy.
That was nice.
That was
yeah, that was dangerous.
So Tammy,
What an
just pause a second, because you're missing 2 people here of the 8 of us, because the 8 of us were just like this, and we have been for 50 years. Interesting. Leslie Norris, who was the swing girl, who's the opposite of Ted, did all the parts, all of our parts, is working tonight, and then Brad, who just passed away this last year, who was the original 6 Bits and a dear friend of all of ours. So for Brad,
Here's
it's
a
great.
picture.
There we
So
go.
there's-
There in the middle.
That's a great one.
That's a
I
great.
love that picture.
Love it.
And there's Brad. Yeah, there's Brad
That's-
and Larry. There's
that's
all of us. And
10
Leslie down on the bottom.
10 years ago this month, the
Right.
40th reunion we put together, and we were all there with Larry, the original director, with Brad, and with Forrest, the Routh, the original choreographer.
It
Yeah.
was great. We were treated like rock stars.
Oh,
it was
fun.
great.
We were rock stars. What are you talking about?
And I'm not really that much smaller than the rest of them in that.
And then the show we went to see was so special, and they did all these special tributes to us. Gave
Yeah.
us gifts and things like that. They had a special song for each of us. It was great.
Aw, that's
Speaking
wonderful.
of gifts, I still kept mine.
Oh, you have it.
Washboard.
Wash
and all your
board.
singing
The
songs.
washboard.
I love show and tell, don't you? I can't.
I have mine. Mine washboard's in my
Scary.
office.
That's great.
But I remember you telling Larry to make sure he brought his washboard.
Yeah.
And what did Larry say? Ted, I'm going to stick that
Yeah. So I had never been on an airplane that's gone farther than maybe Southern California, and I hopped on that airplane in Seattle and flew to Orlando, Florida. It was like going to a foreign country. And
You used to only wear short pants too.
yeah, and we got the script, I think, in the mail before we came down. I remember getting the script and we had a chance to look through it, and it was an incredible feeling of doing something, I think, that none of us could have imagined would ever happen to us. It was just so fantastic to be in this place with these incredible people, Larry, and being inspired, and then being inspired by each other, because we all brought this collective of talent and passion and energy to the show that I think is one of the reasons the DNA of the show works so well, is because
Like the one-liners that are all got kept into the script.
They all got, when it made us laugh. That's the thing. Larry Billman, great director and great writer and everything, but he shaped this, obviously, and he had lines in there. But then you get Brad up there or Ted or any guys, and
hair jokes.
why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Or recognize the mating call right off to you.
I
These
don't-
ad libs that would make Larry laugh and all of us laugh. Well, let's put that in.
Let's keep it. Yeah.
Let's keep it and keep trying
Yeah.
to mess with this with these kids.
We weren't tied to the specific script, so we had the ability to improvise and
Oh,
try.
nice. Okay.
I remember the night John Windsor jumped on the barrel and jumped up to the second. So the
that was
balcony.
not me. That was Marilyn.
I thought it was you who jumped up on the.
No.
It
Well,
should have been
you and
him.
Marilyn were.
should have
That
you
must
know,
have been on
did
my
that
swing night because
similarity.
I don't remember that.
But you know what? That was like.
I
we
don't
were
know.
all
Maybe
like-
I did, and if I did, it was so off the charts for me that I forgot about it.
No,
It's always followed me up there.
but that was one of the things we said. Well, you've got to do that every night now. That was so freaking
No,
cool.
we used to climb up there, get on the piano,
We
and
did.
get on the barrel, and climb up over the railing, and it was a playground.
Wow.
Pioneer Hall was an absolute playground, and made up
I
stuff.
never climbed.
Theater, Judy and Kate and Leslie out there just belting out these songs during dinner theater, sitting on laps, and it was all about breaking that fourth wall. All about. I mean, Larry used to say, "It is all about them. Make
Right.
this. It's not about you. It's not about what a great show you're doing. It is what a great time you are providing for
Yes.
everybody." And that was a real
Whole thing.
philosophy that we grabbed onto. Oh, that's our goal. Just to make sure you have a great time and that you come
Yeah.
back and that
And
this
you-
thing lasts for 50
You
years.
include the people, you know.
Yeah, I mean, make it fun for everybody, and
Mhm.
it will outlive you all. But who knew that 50 years later it
Looks like it's going to.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Well, even after COVID, I think there was the concern, will it come back? And we were so grateful to hear, yes, it did. And I think they added some new updates to it as well, too, I believe. So, but which is great. So, and again, when you say, you're making the audience have the best time ever, I think our family has seen it maybe 10 times since 1998, and every show is different. Sometimes we see some of the same cast members, but every show is different because you got a new dynamic. So with all of you coming together, and sometimes, you have to sub in and sub out because, Ted, you were doing multiple roles, so like different roles occasionally. So what's it like to have like a new person sub in, maybe very last minute, or do you have like a last minute story of somebody, getting sick and then somebody comes in 10 minutes later and you're like, okay, here we go. We have like a different show we're going to be doing tonight because we have such and such.
I remember that it was just seamless. I think we all loved working together so much, and each other's personalities. I think just the subs coming in and out, whether Leslie was playing Claire or whether she was playing Dolly or I was playing a different role, I just remember the show being so much fun to do. We were 20-year-old sophomores and juniors in college having a summer that was indescribable.
Yeah,
Right.
it really was.
It was working at Disney World. I mean, it was incredible.
We didn't mind outnumbering the audience from time to time.
That's the first show. Maybe it was just like
Yeah.
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 I want
It was
to
when we
correct
first
for
started.
Tammy. I want to correct for Tammy just or clarify that we were on rotation.
Yeah.
So there was no last minute. I don't remember any emergencies. I mean, we did it.
I don't remember any emergencies.
2 months, something like that. So, and we each had 2 days off a week. But it was like Kate and I were always off together. Big.
We got to see
Me and Brad were
And-
always off together.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of thing. But it was a comfort to it was nice to have a day off.
yes.
And or 2 days off.
To
Holy
recover.
crap. And there was just there's always a delight when you play opposite somebody that, I loved working with Judy, and then Leslie would come in as Claire, and it was like, oh yeah, I have to adjust to this.
Get out of the way a little bit.
There's that one jump at the very end, where
Right.
during that highlight part, and you had to jump up and you had to catch, and that was a hard move. She always said that was a hard move for me to make.
I know.
Yeah,
and Leslie-
it definitely. Judy, you were so light and easy to move around and what have you. And Leslie's like, okay, babe.
Leslie jumped. Leslie jumped. And she said, okay, I will do Dolly, but I cannot play the trumpet. So I will take this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we would practice. Leslie was like,
Lovely. Fantastic.
You know, at 6 a.m., Leslie would be up. After I said, Leslie, if you don't play this, you can't do the role. Or boom, that was it.
As she was playing Reveille every morning from that
Yeah.
time day on.
That's fun.
I think I took this out of the thing. I'm not sure where this came
Yeah,
from.
you got to give that back. That's
I know,
Disney property.
I'll tell you, I'll bring this.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Memorabilia.
Well, you guys sent some photos in. So I think this is from the first rehearsal, right?
Yeah.
Very first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Just learning the show.
Boy, is it the 70s or what?
No kidding.
I think those are bell-bottom pants.
Crop tops and
so.
bell bottoms.
There we are.
I
There
love
we
it.
are.
Is that everybody? Yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah.
Ted.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
And the
in there.
musicians. And
Wait,
Larry.
Is Forrest in there? Forrest is
Larry.
not in there.
No.
I have my umbrella. That
There's a little
umbrella. I
ad
got to
winking
keep
at
it.
you.
Giving a
And
kiss.
Tony.
There's
Here
the
we
lady.
are hamming it up.
Girls.
Look at y'all.
Now,
See, I
who's on
didn't
the
hear
floor?
1 ounce of Texas accent when you showed up 50 years ago. But now it's rolling in, babe.
Yeah.
Ah,
I love
I,
it.
I love that the costumes have pretty much stayed the same. My question
They
was just
have.
the one on the far right for the what character was that, or was that just another?
No, that was Leslie
additional
putting on
costume.
anything.
That
she-
was her doll. That was Leslie's Dolly character, wasn't it?
I don't
she
know.
had the same one, but she had a jacket when she played.
When she played
Claire and
Flora,
Yeah.
or when she played,
I think she wore that skirt all the time.
I did too. Yeah.
and she just changed out tops to be the
Right.
different characters.
Tops and wigs.
We never
It's
knew.
like you're looking kind of in Jim mode there, but
Mhm.
or a mix of Jim and Johnny.
Yeah,
think
I don't.
they're
That
just
was
pictures.
that was my gym costume, and that must have been when we were just like all hanging out doing our
We-
costume
yeah.
things.
Probably just
Maybe
Those
it was
photos
dress
in it.
rehearsal. Maybe it was dress rehearsal, and that's why we were
Yeah.
all there.
that
in
could
costume.
be.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, look at y'all.
Oh, there.
Love
Is
that.
that Clementine? There's
that was my
Clementine.
No,
publicity
that's a
shot.
publicity
That's the paper.
shot.
Yeah, Leslie's playing
That's
Claire
down in the
there.
valley, but up on stage.
Those were great voices. Gary and Kate, you could
Aw,
sing. Those were
thank you.
beautiful
Yeah.
songs. It's beautiful. Could have heard a pin
You're
drop.
funny.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
And there's Ted attempting to be Brad.
Yeah. Very sad. And I mean, you look at these faces. I mean, all of our faces, we were so in it. We were
Yeah.
so into it.
In the moment.
Whatever it was,
Yep.
Mhm.
you know.
What Larry did when I first got to talk to him, he's like, I have a whole script of the show. Can I send it to you? I said, well, I guess so. So he sent it to me. And what I love the most about it is the backgrounds that he wrote for your characters. And I was just curious. I wanted to read a couple and just ask you if maybe you guys played in part with creating these. So Jim Handy is an honest young man who saw the need for such a company like the Pioneer Hall Players and left his home to find musicians and performers of the Players. So he handles the bookings. He's the manager of the group, and he's deciding where the money is to be made out there. So does that sound pretty accurate, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, you feel responsible when you get that description, and I think it carried with me for quite a number of years. But yeah, it's pretty accurate. I mean, when I take a trip like this, I have a 3-ring binder and all detailed and all the confirmation numbers. I can't function any other way. So
Oh, you are Jim Handy. You
Yeah.
were
yeah,
Jim.
I think he nailed it.
Yeah.
And so Flora is the strong, sincerely sweet young lady that Jim has discovered through a sing-along in the North. She's flattered Jim asks her to join, but is very hesitant to join the Players. But after much deliberation and a genuine affection for Jim, she decides to make performing her life. And she sews all the costumes and repairs the scenery and props.
Yeah, I
How
don't
does that
remember any of that.
Well, Kate, I'm glad you said yes. So that's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I do remember that Larry said, when he's talking about Flora in front of all of us, he said, Flora, you are the sweet girl, and you're,
The
everybody
homegrown,
wants
yeah.
to take you home, and you're, you can make cornbread better than anybody, and
Yeah.
so, but give her a couple of pans in her hand and let her do a big funny comic. So there was a comic twist to
We were
well, I remember the nose blow during Clementine
Oh yeah.
was all mine.
Yeah.
It just came out.
And the reason why that worked so well is because you had been the demure, pretty,
Right.
beautiful voiced
The whole
girl
time.
until that moment. And
Uh-huh.
then that's where the comedy, that's what was so beautiful about the show.
Yeah.
That was never written in the script.
No.
You know,
No.
none of Brad's bear jokes were written in the script.
Right.
I
They
think he kicked the bucket. No, he turned a little pale. That was,
And that would make Larry laugh, and we'd crack up.
And we'd
then,
crack
okay,
up.
put it in.
keep it in, do that every night. And I think the kick the bucket joke, like, God, that must have been in for 30 years. At least.
It's a great joke. So Dolly is apparently Jim's first recruit for the players. She's an energetic farm girl who has always dreamed of being on the wicked stage. She had to sneak away from her parents to join the players, but she's resourceful and she's never regretted it.
That's absolutely right
A
on.
lot more than that.
Oh,
Right on the money.
She
I'm
was a
sure.
Calamity Jane type character.
Yeah.
You know, I think even now with Dolly still in the show and everything, I think the whole theater could fall down and Dolly would be still out there,
You know,
shooting a rifle and singing and, you know, ignoring calamity because there was enough calamity around her in her life that she just powered on through. I mean, it was a fun role.
She was the only one that wore boots.
yeah, cowboy boots,
Right.
right.
That's right.
Wait,
I wouldn't have
wore
the boots under my bed. Yep.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? We often, you know, I'm sure we all watch movies and we say, I can't imagine another actor playing that role. And you read a little backstory of the movie and you see all the other actors that were considered, but you can't imagine anyone else playing it. By the end of that summer, I can't imagine how any other college kids, I mean, we were picked. Larry was really, he knew exactly the personalities, and somehow he was able to glean enough information off those silly videotape auditions
I
to
don't know how he did
realize
that.
this was the team, this was the energy and the passion and the personalities that were gonna be, you know, do his show.
And he was right.
I think we all fit the bill. John Windsor was this really, John, your dancing skills, I just remember being blown away by
Triple pirouettes and things like
those
that.
high kicks.
Yeah.
and
True, John.
trying to, you know, do John Windsor light, you know, when I was done. You know,
John back.
I would attempt to do those, you know, Barnett Ritchie used to call me a singer mover. And, you know, I would attempt to do those moves that you and Forrest, you know, put together. But I think we all just, and I mean, Marilyn as Dolly, come on. There have been a lot of Dollies.
There have been some great Dollies.
There have
I have
been.
seen a lot of those
But
Dollies
Marilyn,
over these years.
You
It's
set the
terrific.
bar 50 years ago, and that was it.
No, it was great fun. It was so much fun to do this. I'll tell you.
It was so much fun watching you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew what you were going to do.
We had trouble keeping a straight face sometimes.
Yeah.
Brad was the scary, because he would throw stuff in out of the blue.
Right.
Yeah.
No one would know
Double take.
it was coming,
It's
and he
really-
would throw something in, and we would laugh
Mhm.
because it was the first time we heard
And
it.
Larry would say,
And,
stop laughing.
You know, Judy,
Stop laughing.
I don't know if you've seen that 40th anniversary video that we did, but you said something really cool on that video. You said, you know, this show works because the actors on stage are having so much fun. And that's
Exactly.
so true. We were having, and it was fun, and it was infectious to
Yeah.
the audiences. They wanted to have fun with us.
It never became just the same old thing doing over. We always wanted to make it funnier and funnier and funnier every time.
Well, and there's a little
Tammy
competition.
said an
friendly
audience brings
competition.
something different to it.
Yeah, with us, like the state song. You know, I mean,
Right.
we're always trying to one up
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
And you know, Larry gave you a rhyme, but then you're going to come up with a better rhyme. And you're going to try to make
State
people
song.
laugh.
I think it was Leslie that was ad-libbing a little too much, and Larry, I think they almost had to bleep that one out. And well, we won't go there. But I remember that one, and that went just a little bit too far for a family-oriented show.
I remember they had one of those, and somebody, I think it was Six Bits, and he said, "There's a man from Mass, and he's sitting on his chair.
Yeah,
That would have been
that's
Brad.
That was
Yeah.
Brad.
That's
I guarantee you the rhyme from Massachusetts, when he comes from dear old Mass, there he sits on his chair, was never in the script.
The original dialogue.
But you know what? The crowds, they loved it. They'd
Mhm.
laugh. And, you know,
Mhm.
that's what it was all about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was such a cool concept. It was really a concept that I'd never worked in before. I'd worked in dinner theater, but not where you were involved with the food. We actually served the food at
Yeah.
one point.
Yes.
Yeah. We actually
Just a little bit
not
of it.
staying in with buckets of beans.
Yeah.
We bring in the
But-
buckets.
Just to be clear, we weren't the servers. We just
No.
did that.
Yeah.
to-
There was at one
Here's a
point
part of the
in the
song.
show where we had to waltz in, and I remember Debbie standing there with big trays ready to go out and serve. And I remember Shaw saying right into one of those girls and she dropped her whole tray.
Oh,
And it was like, oh, I feel so bad. I had to keep going. Oh,
Well,
I think
we
s-
have Johnny and Claire, who it says that they've worked professionally, but when they met Jim, they were stranded at the train station. So they've been enduring hard times. So they didn't want to go back to their families in defeat. So they joined the Pioneer Hall Players.
a show? Sure, we'll do it.
We'll go.
We're
And then,
between
yeah,
the
There wasn't that
stages,
sense
we always-
of, yeah, we'll just go along and do whatever.
Yeah. We're
But,
just
but as I
players.
listen to you read that, I have this sort of sense of seriousness or whatever. And when we were watching that little clip you played, and I'm looking at the Johnny, I imagine you were each channeling your characters. You were watching them, trying to remember how you were. And I watched the guy playing Johnny and did a very nice job. It was like, oh, I don't remember being so polished and whatever, that there was this, maybe because we were all just laughing so often and what have you, that there was I mean, it was professional. It's not in my nature to not execute the steps, but there was just this sense of fun.
No, it's a wink and a
I
smile.
think- I
the
think-
whole thing.
I think that's a really good point, John. I think the reason was because we knew there was an end date. We were only
Yeah.
doing this for a summer.
For
And I
summer.
think
Mhm.
these professional casts, you know, God bless them, that's their job. They do it, you know, 5-6 nights a week, and I think the steps probably become more rudimentary. It's not unbridled joy that
Plus, they have another
brings
show.
their performances. But
Yeah.
we were uncontrollably passionate about doing the show every night, and I think
Mhm.
that's what really.
But we
Yeah.
only had 2 shows.
Yeah.
And they have 3
Yeah.
shows now, and they really have to.
oh
We
Lord.
had time to really milk some of the scene, you
Yeah.
know, but they
Well, and-
don't. They don't have time.
You know, we were supposed to be just a one-off thing that turned out to be so successful they kept it going.
Yeah.
But I think too, the
Yep.
cast now probably have a dance captain and people like that are watching the show to say,
Sure.
your steps were a little sloppy tonight, John. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly had that
Probably so.
in New York, where you have to answer to the
Yeah, we had leniency. We had some.
jazz hands like that.
Yeah. It's this. Yeah. It's this angle. Yeah.
I think
No,
I
Gary.
sent you,
No,
Tammy,
Gary.
at least one photo of John Jazz Hands. I don't know if
Oh yeah.
you've got it handy, but that was his trademark.
Classic.
I have some more photos for sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I have on my
Right.
little slides. But since you're talking, Ted, here's the last one. This is 6 bits. He came from escaping the last town for not paying his hotel bill.
Yeah.
He's a,
Yeah.
That's right.
he's a genuine con man, but he has a heart of gold, but he's just not cunning. Dolly adores him and his good nature, but he dreams of marrying Lily Langtree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, Lang.
He never really.
Brad nailed it too. Brad nailed it.
He was 6
But he was so darn cute. You know, you just had to.
He was cute. Yeah, you just wanted to.
Well, you talk about chemistry. Those two, Marilyn and Brad,
Yeah.
there was nothing compared to that chemistry of the two of them on stage
Well,
together.
the anything you can do, I can do better things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
And who was going to win it, and the whole thing, and who bought the beer, and you know, it was a deal. So, but for all of it, you know, it was just going to work was so much fun, and you know, like John said, there was nobody really watching too close. So once Larry, you know, was there and in and out, and Forrest is there, they kind of said, okay, guys, you know, don't screw this up. Just go out and do your thing and have fun and make sure you're doing it for them.
Another thing that kept it so fresh and spontaneous for us were the audiences,
Right.
which continued to grow through the whole summer. You know, it started out pretty meager. You know, I think there might have been more cast members than there were audience the first show or two, but it caught on very quickly. And I remember we had full houses for at least a couple of months. And every night it was a different group of people that were reacting to what we did. And that kept it fresh for us too.
You had to be ready because you didn't know what they were going to do.
Exactly.
That's a really good point, because if you're in a long run, you're doing 8 shows a week of something. You hopefully are a professional enough actor that you don't seem tired and what have you. But when there's that fourth wall, when there's separation, it's not the same as when you're going to be interacting with the audience. So you got to be ready for anything, which reminds me of one of my strongest memories from that time, where in the second act, we did this thing and we got volunteers up, and there was a thing, and they were fighting with these foam, you know, big foam
Just like an Indian
clubs or something.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle officiating or doing something like that. And in one show, somebody took this huge swing and missed the other person and smacked me straight in the face. And my eyes just started going. And I don't know which of you wonderful ladies grabbed me, but somebody looked at me and went, oh, he's gone. Pulled me away.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? I bet we could all share a quick anecdote about the Davy Crockett, you know.
Oh yeah.
And yet, because every night we would get 4 or 5 people out of, and you never knew. Jim was in charge of as I recall, Gary, you may know better, but the boy that was going to come out and smack the Indian, we had to put a little dress on him and a little vest and get him ready. And I had it back there. And we didn't have much time. We had like 30 seconds, and then he's out there, and you're trying to explain to him what he's going to do, get his little costume piece on, and then send him out. And I had this little kid back there one day, and I got 30 seconds, and he looks at me. I'm getting him ready, and I said, "Okay, you're going to run out there. They're going to hand you this." And he goes, "I have to go to the bathroom." And I said, "Yeah. You're going to be done in 5 minutes. It's just a quick little thing." And so I'm going to get ready. And he goes, "No, I really have to go to the bathroom." And I said, "Kid, you're going to have to hang on for just a minute because you're almost ready to go out." And he goes, "I'm going."
Right there.
And I look down, and there is a puddle on stage.
I didn't know this.
And his cue happens. And I said, "You're on, man." And he ran out there and did his thing. But it was, and I stood back there going, "Okay." He's got a paper towel.
Oh my goodness.
We never knew what was going to happen because these people, we'd send out, some unsuspecting victim who would come up, and we'd put little wings and a tutu on him, and he'd have to come out and do a couple pirouettes, and that was always brought down the house because you never knew what that guy was going to do. Some of them were really shy, and that was funny. Some of them went completely over the top, like Next Stop Broadway. That was funny. So no matter what they did, it was funny.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was live,
and it was
it was live. Mistakes
very
and all.
spontaneous.
Yeah, mistakes and all.
I actually have a clip, and this is perfect timing. So when we go see the show, we always usually film a lot of sequences. So we were filming the My Darling Clementine part. So this is a clip, I think, from 2010. And I think Jim Handy pushes 6-bits a little bit too hard during the scene. And Claire has a funny rhetorical thing to say at the very end. So here's a little clip just to play.
All right, that's enough. What has gotten into you? It's a sad song! Fine, 6 bits. Let it all out. Still not. What are you doing? Get over there. You're gonna hit me in Venice? Still I kissed her little sister and forgot my Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine. Still I kissed her little sister.
Kiss her little sister. That's me. Don't hit me.
So wrong. And forgot my Clementine.
7480. That's 36 years after we opened the show. And that little clip you played, other than the ad-libs and all that stuff going on, the song, the choreography, everything was the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly the same as we did it 36 years before. Amazing.
Marilyn, did you write a song for the show at all?
Yeah, we did 2 songs actually back in the day when I can't remember what year it was.
The new Hoop-Dee-Doo?
The new Hoop-Dee-Doo
Yeah.
song. Reed Jones was the vice president of entertainment at the time, and I think he came to me and said, you know, I think I was coming back to direct. I was
Right.
invited back to redirect the next series of casts. So I came back. I came back twice in the last 50 years to reset the show. But the one time I got back, there was an issue and we had to come up with a new song. And boy, that was a challenge because everybody loved that old song. And I had to have, you know, what are you going to write? You're going to write something that sounds like Hoop-Dee-Doo, but it isn't Hoop-Dee-Doo. And then we had to write a new Showdown.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there are 2 new songs that went in.
Because
And
that
then,
was
of course,
from Annie Get Your Gun.
yeah, an apple pie changed to strawberries, so we had to
Yeah.
do that one. So there were some touches over the years that changed the show, but basically the bones of the show remained
Still
the
the same.
same. I mean, sure, there are a lot of people like yourself, Tammy, saw, or I think the people on this call, you know, who are going to get back there next for the 50th anniversary in July in just a week or so and see the show, and we'll remember things we did that aren't in it anymore. And I'm sure there've been changes. That's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as the intention of the show remains pure and giving, and it's an all age family fun Disney perfect thing, then it will work. It doesn't really matter what exactly you sing, what exact lyric you deliver. Certainly that we have our favorites, but I think we accept the changes and the growth of the show. It can't be bad because it's still running. So
Still running,
making the decisions now are making the right decisions, or else it would be long gone. So congratulations to all the people, frankly, in
all the people that kept it going.
Keep looking at that show. Tom Vazana, who's now the director of entertainment down there. I mean, it's just it's a wonderful product, and the stewardship of it is really important to all these people. And all of us, on behalf of us, we can't thank them enough.
That's
And
right.
the cast, the hundreds and maybe thousands of performers that have come and gone over the years that played these roles, you know, that were inspired by that first summer when we were all there as college kids. Pretty cool.
I'm sure they said, you know, they came in for the professional cast. I can imagine this. I would imagine. Now, no, Dolly, you cannot climb up and over the balcony.
Yeah.
And Leslie, no, you can't, you know, stand up and, you know, get 5 guys around you and belt out something that stops the show, Mammy. Minutes at Disney, you know, there were things that we did that we stretched the envelope, pushed it, just like actors would do, you know, trying things, but then we could walk away. And like John said, you know, now I'm sure there are controls and things because they got to deliver 21 shows a week. That's a different deal.
Oh, we used to have that fantastic line. We were singing Tavern in the Town, and we'd get people up with their napkins, and they would follow us. Remember, around the
Do a snake.
Well, OSHA came in and there was like 5 things. This is when Brad and I and Leslie went back and did the show for a year.
You were professional cast.
We were the professionals.
They were the professionals.
And they'd come in and they'd say, it's not safe for people to get up and be dancing around this theater. If you, as a performer, you encourage them to get up and they trip over a chair and break their arm, Disney's liable for that. So we couldn't get people up out of their chairs anymore, which was one of the most fun parts of it at the end, was getting people up and dance around the room with us, because that's what it was all about, getting the audience involved. But there were other things, jumping up on the balcony, a performer falls off and said, don't do that anymore. So they got a little bit more stay in your lane kind of attitude.
And there were cultural changes, the napkins, Dixie, that Kate Gary did out in the thing, and stand up on your chairs and everybody's waving the napkins and singing, wish I wasn't Dixie. I doubt that is still in the show for probably the right reasons, but it was a moment in time. That's okay that piece is gone now in favor of something else that is equally enchanting and fun and
just as fun. Yeah.
I think they still do the napkin twirling, not on the chair, but it's for "This land is your land."
Yes.
And they do,
there you go.
There you go. Good for them.
so even better, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When I go to a party or something like that, and we have big napkins, I actually, if we're doing a birthday party or something, I like to do the Hoop-Dee-Doo napkin roll, and it's really fun just to get people to do it. So, but what would you say? Because we just discussed that the dessert song changed. So, in your opinion, which would you prefer, an apple pie or a strawberry shortcake?
No question, apple pie.
What about you guys?
I think apple pie. I'm an apple pie.
Chocolate sundae? No.
I was sorry to see that happen. It just did somehow. We had the tablecloths that turned into the American flag, and it was just Mom and apple pie was so much a part of, sort of the DNA of our show. Strawberry shortcake was like I wasn't wild about it.
I bet you guys remember every lyric. I mean, honest engine. If we did the apple pie hood on, would you remember it? Do you remember it?
I wouldn't.
Probably not.
John, you do so.
Wait, John, isn't that the last thing you sing to your wife at night?
What a serenade.
Well, let's take
I remember a lot of things, but I don't remember that number.
Let's take a look at a clip from you guys from your 40th anniversary. This is a video that Disney had released, and here's just some snippets of it, and Larry, the director, getting to talk. So I thought it'd be great to see him on screen.
Kitty.
They all originated their roles in the Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Revue as college students in 1974. Today, they're back to share memories and meet the cast of 2014.
Flora! Yes, down in the valley.
Oh, yeah.
We're excited to do the show for you. Absolutely.
We had no idea it would become a permanent show. We were trying to make a great show for that moment, for that audience. And so that's why it still works. And it's because of all of the time.
So I'm just so pleased and grateful to have been a part of this thing at the beginning and see it continue. I don't think it'll ever stop. How could it stop? It's perfect.
That's awesome. That's fun. Great time.
Always hands.
Oh, yeah. Talk about jazz hands. They're there.
Yeah, we were all doing it then. Guilty.
Yeah.
So what's this shot?
This was a publicity shot. One of the publicity
before you were all arrested.
It was like a old timey. Don't smile for this. Like you're
right. The no smiling thing.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite one though.
There we are.
I love this one. This one's great.
Yeah.
Look at Windsor's leg.
Yeah, I know. And look at Dolly's leg. The boots were very heavy.
Look at Dolly's leg and look at Windsor's leg.
I remember it was the boots.
Just to the roof.
Yeah, I look at my technique there and go, "Oh, I'm cheating."
You were very good at picks, John.
I remember the light booth guys would I made friends with them, and they would say, "We just love to see you because you're just such a rubber face." Because I would just make all these different faces to read to the back of the stage, back to the house. And,
but Judy, you did that. So you rode that line of this adorable dancer, sophisticated, great training, and this deeply comedic character inside. So did John. But because John played it a little straighter, you could get away with, just teasing everybody and
being the flirt. I was like a real flirty flirt for a flirt.
Yeah, you made that happen, Jude.
It was never over the top,
And that was fun.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's a great picture.
That was in my college paper. When I came back to school.
That's a keeper.
John, you got star quality in that photo, man.
Yeah.
And just a little plug for John. John was the one cast member we all had dreams of Broadway. John made it to Broadway and the cast of Pippin on Broadway.
Yeah.
How about that?
We were real proud of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's where I learned the proper jazz hands.
Yeah. From the man himself.
Of course.
Look at that great shot.
There's Larry.
See, this shows we weren't having any fun that summer, guys.
Yeah.
We were.
Whose boat was that? I don't even remember whose boat.
Somebody that was like a fan, and they took us all out that day.
Yeah.
And had us over for dinner at their house. Remember?
There was somebody, then took like a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And they just
Strange.
they
None of the
adopted
guys
the
did that.
cast.
That's another one of my faves. Great shot. Had a
There's
waitress
little
that
Brad.
did stuff, too.
One of our favorite waitresses.
Yep.
too.
Yeah. That was great.
This is the one we were talking about. You guys together again, and then here you are on the stage.
Clowning.
There's
Clowning
Forrest.
around.
There's Forrest down the
There
middle.
he is.
Very important.
I love
Forrest
that.
had such a huge impact on me because before I grew up in Arizona and in the theater scene there, and the choreographers that I worked with, who I became dear friends with, but their style was very kind of demanding and stuff like that. And Forrest was like, he'd ask you, could you please try this? And he was so nice.
He was nice.
And it was like, oh, you don't have to be mean to people to get them to do the things that you want.
I remember
And
we
that
had a
was
few
mind-blowing.
ballet steps, the ballet steps that we had to do. I never took ballet, but he
Yeah.
said, this is how you do it. You just do it.
Yeah,
And
but it wasn't like, you idiot.
You don't know how to do it? What?
No.
Yeah.
Forrest had a really beautiful spirit. We're going to see him in a week.
Yeah.
Hey.
He just was so calm and so soft spoken. You just wanted to do a great job for him.
Yeah.
He just so inspiring.
We miss Larry.
We miss
Larry. We miss Larry.
Yep.
What a nice guy. I've
was
only spoken to
great.
him like 3 times, and he was just so nice to me because I was like, this is when I first started the podcast when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And so he was just so nice. And because I just had all these questions because that was my dream to be in the show. So he answered all my questions and sent me the script, and I have it all these years later. I love looking at it, and it's just one of my favorite shows. So I'm so sad I can't join you next week, but I know you guys are going to have
bummer.
so much fun
We will.
reuniting.
Well,
You know what I
Larry-
mean?
Larry literally, I mean, I'm sure we all talk about it. Is there something in your life that, changed things? I mean, for me, Larry choosing me and choosing all of us, there were some 600 tape auditions that were sent into Disneyland, and 8 of us got picked. But that was such a turning point, in my life. And many years later, whenever I saw Larry out to lunch or something, I reminded him, and I thought, man, how did that happen? How did you happen to pick us? And,
I think yours was a mistake, actually.
I asked Larry, why did you? Why
I was picked last. I know that because Larry reminded
No,
me.
you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You were probably first pick to be Dolly.
I talented 7 people, and then I needed a filler. So, Marilyn, you got the job. Be
I
great.
just-
And
I
I
remember
bullshit.
he called the dorm I lived in to talk to me because I wrote a letter saying, I can't do it. I got to be a car hop at A&W. And
Really?
And he called and it was like, Larry Gilman's on the phone from California. And it was a payphone, in the hall. And he said, look, you'll earn a whole lot more money doing this gig than being a car hop. come on down.
You did it. Yeah, $75 a week, as I
I'm glad
recall.
you came
right?
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he called the drama office at the college, the drama office. And I went into the dean's office to receive the call, and everybody was hanging outside the door. What's it about? What's it about? What's it about? So that was pretty exciting.
I never got that call.
I never got a call either.
I think I just
called my dorm room
I
on
called
my
and said, tell him
birthday.
not to come.
Yeah.
I don't know why he called the drama office, because I don't remember ever giving him that number. Maybe he was trying to call me that was back in the days when we had no communication.
No, you didn't have cell phones.
No communication.
A letter went to my family
Landline. That was it.
In Bellevue. There was a letter that was sent with a beautiful embossed Disney logo on the letterhead, and my mother
Jeez.
opened it and read it and then called me, and I was in my dorm, and she said she was hysterical, and she said, we got a letter from Disney, and I've been waiting. I thought, what happened? Are they going to send us notes and saying sorry, or
Yeah.
are we gonna hear anything? This was like maybe a month and a half after I sent the tape in. I just wondered what's going to happen. I'm in this little teeny state university up in Washington, and my mother's reading me this letter. The first line is, "Congratulations, you've been accepted into the 1974 college." That's about all I heard.
Yeah.
I just went nuts. It was like
It was
a dream
cool.
come true.
Gary, what'd you sing for your audition?
What did I sing? Well, I just got done with the show Godspell, and I had All Good Gifts.
Oh.
It just got off Broadway the fall of '73. We did a 2-week run of it at Illinois State University. I was going to Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington, Illinois. And then my professor's wife approached me and said, I saw this poster for a role to audition for Disney World. I think you should audition. So I sent for the stuff, got it in March and submitted it. And then on my birthday, so I sang All Good Gifts along with what they said. And all good gifts surround us, are sent from heaven above.
See,
It's a beautiful song.
That's a great Jim Handy song.
Yeah, and I was able to get a call on my birthday, May 3rd at noon in my dorm, and they asked me, "Would you like to work for Walt Disney World?" Silence. Yes, and that was it. I'm sorry.
And then you dropped your phone.
I was so excited.
Then you drop the phone.
My phone dropped. Boom.
So what did you sing? I sang "Luck Be a Lady" from Guys and Dolls.
Oh,
Good one.
That's good for a swings audition.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, "Luck Be a Lady," and then I actually
see your
matched the
rhythm.
pitch myself that they
Did you?
sang.
Well, I didn't match pitches. I mean, I tried. What'd you sing, Kate?
Oh, I sang from Annie Get Your Gun. They say that falling in love is wonderful.
Yeah.
All these people
That's
can
a
still
Flora
sing.
Long song.
It is.
Yeah.
It was. Who
So
knew?
Flora
Who
is it?
knew?
That's
I
it.
thought it was a
I
comedian.
think I
What'd you
did
say, Jude?
cabaret. I think
You
I
said
did cabaret.
cabaret.
Mhm.
Everybody's
Good
thinking-
one.
What good
That's
is
a
sitting
clear song.
alone in your room?
Yes.
That's great. John, what'd you sing?
I'm not sure, but my standard audition song when I was in New York was 50 Million Years Ago
Oh,
from Celebration. And
We had 50 million.
fast and driving 50 million years ago, something in the sea reached above the water eagerly.
Yeah.
And so they probably like that. My memory, though, from the thing was for the dancing roles, you had to create a little dance, like a 3-minute dance. And I ended up having the head of the dance department. I was using their video equipment. So she helped me out, and she's usually kind of stuffy or something. And I created this really wacky thing to
this story.
something from the Nutcracker. Dun, 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 dun. I forget the name of the tune. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. And it was just this, I was doing all these things running around and what have you. It was not a staged balletic kind of thing. And I think that's what helped me get it.
That's great. That's
I
great.
had another story, John, about your audition that you said why you got picked. What was it? I can't remember, but it cracked me up.
Do you guys remember being in the recording studio making all the click tracks?
That was cool.
That was my
Send you
first.
that
Hadn't
picture?
done that
I
before.
don't think I sent Tammy that.
Seeing the magic behind the magic, you know?
Oh, I'd love to
What
hear
an
that. You still have
eye-opener.
copies of those?
What?
Do you still have copies of those, or?
No, they had the
Jude.
click tracks that was run through during the show. We
Right.
sang
During
to
the show.
ourselves.
We sang with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had recorded all the choruses. We sang them
Uh-huh.
and then they played them back during the show. So.
So it's
And the
Yeah.
royalties, I bought my first house with
Yeah,
all
right.
those royalties.
All
That
Oh,
meant-
yeah.
What
Right.
a gift from Disney.
That's a good
Oh
one.
man.
I wonder if they recorded all the click tracks all over again. I would
I'm sure
imagine
they
they
do.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
As they should.
The new, of course, the new songs for sure. Yeah.
Well, I have a fun little game for you guys. I thought it would be fun because, most high schools and colleges have like a yearbook or something like that. So I have most likelies. So I'm going to give you a most likely, and you guys can tell me who in the cast would be that most likely. Okay. So the first one is, who was most likely to be the biggest prankster?
Brad.
Brad. Yeah.
Always a new
Who is
line.
One time he scared me.
Close by Marilyn playing a prank
They
on
did
it.
absolutely straight.
He would sometimes when we had the day off and we'd be the only one there because everybody else would be at work and at the apartment complex. And one day he came around the staircase and scared me, just wah like that, and I screamed bloody murder. I never forgave him for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you did.
That was Brad.
So who was the most likely to be late for rehearsal?
Oh,
Ooh, I don't
we
think-
all rode together, so
Yeah.
Marilyn.
Oh, my only because Leslie had to do something.
Oh, it had to be.
That's
You'd
good.
have to
Blame
say
the
Leslie.
person
blame it on Leslie.
Yeah.
Let's
Blame it on her.
blame it on Leslie.
Marilyn,
Yeah,
you were always wandering all over Disney World and you come in right before the show. And I remember Judy and I being worried, is she going to show up? And you'd glue on those eyelashes
Slap on
Everybody
makeup.
had eyelashes.
and you were ready to roll.
I still have nightmares about gluing on eyelashes. They were always like this. And
Yeah.
I remember us getting fitted for our costumes and the ladies taking Marilyn in to pluck your eyebrows. Do you remember that?
Oh, I know. No, I had.
And
They
you
were
were like screaming bloody murder and we were laughing.
Yeah.
So who would it be most likely to run off with the circus?
Marilyn.
Ooh,
Marilyn.
probably.
Yeah, Marilyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who would be most likely to win the lottery and lose their ticket?
Leslie.
Leslie for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Who was the class clown?
Brad.
Brad.
Bad.
Marilyn,
With
Ted.
a side of
Ted was right
Marilyn
on
and a
there.
side of Ted.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the junior class clown.
There you go.
Okay, we'll grant
You were
it.
the intern.
Swing class.
Intern, yeah.
The swing class clown. Yeah.
Who was the most generous?
Oh,
That's hard. Everybody. you know?
no, I think the girls, I mean, the
think-
generous, the people to play with on stage, generosity, everybody besides me. Brad and Leslie, we probably, but you know,
No,
all of
you
these
can't
people you're looking
exclude
at were
yourself
so
from that.
generous as actors, as real actors.
Yeah.
You know, nobody.
I think
started
Ted.
these lines.
Yeah, there
If
was a-
somebody was
Good
getting a
team.
laugh, take it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't remember anybody
Yeah.
ever threatening or
Good team.
there was
Really
no
good.
jealousy, none of
No
that.
That's a
competition.
really good point. This was probably the most generous cast I can ever remember being a part of
Magical.
because so
Yeah.
many
There
shows
wasn't any
that I was
competition.
in,
Right. No competition.
even on Broadway, you'd have people just out for their little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
sucked.
Wasn't
We
like
were all for one and one for
Right.
all.
no.
Yeah.
It was genuine. And,
Well, and I think probably the other part of it was there was no expectation.
right.
Yeah, there's no
of-
end game.
of
Yeah.
this becoming anything else, of a career or what have you. And that's
Uh-huh.
where, if there was a career, then you'd have Leslie would have been chewing the scenery even more than she was.
Yeah.
Not here to defend herself.
I know.
Oh,
That's good. We'll hear about it
We'd
later.
make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a little Kodak moment. I always have a Kodak moment on the show where we all just look at the camera. I'll count back from 3, and then we'll have our nice little group photo. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, smile. Perfect. And my last question, again, thank you guys for doing this. This was just such a pleasure. But if you could sum up, working on Hoop and this whole entire history, 50 years in one word, what would it be? And I will give it to John to start us off.
Lucky me, magical.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Fun was my first word. Yeah.
Unforgettable.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. For sure.
That's two life-changing.
You can't do that, Kate.
Yeah.
You can't take my
Okay,
life.
so magical.
Magical.
Magically life-changing.
And so many families still get to experience this show that you guys created. And I that's another joy just to go to the show now because I know it by heart. I love watching the cast, but I love watching the audience. And there's nothing like that, just to see their reactions. These kids will get up and like scream at 6 bits and it's just so much fun. So I can't wait to hear about everything happening next week for the 50th. So have a blast, you guys, please.
We intend
to. No problem. We won't have a problem with that. We'll have fun.
Tammy, thank you so much for hosting this.
Yeah, Tammy, thank you.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you guys.
Awesome.
We had fun. Yeah.
Oh. And thank you to everybody who's been watching and joining us this evening. If you'd like to see more interviews and reunions like this, please subscribe to my channel and share this this interview with your friends on social media. You can continue the conversation of the Hoop-Dee-Doo. Let's celebrate this 50th. It's a whole year of celebrating the 50th. So let's get to it. You could feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the show notes below. My website's TammyTuckey.com. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks again to you guys. We'll see you all very soon. And remember to shake the rafters and fill the hall. We're Hoop-Dee-Dooing it tonight. Good evening, everybody.
Jazz hands out. Jazz hands out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.